Province-wide states of emergency. More coming up on the World this hour at 4 o'clock. Chris.
Thanks for that, Kenny. 9 minutes to 4 o'clock now. As Kenny mentioned, evacuation orders and advisories have been issued for communities in northern Alberta as wildfires there burn out of control. And meanwhile, province-wide states of emergency have been declared for Saskatchewan and Manitoba. For more on what we're seeing, we're joined now by Red Deer Fire Chief Ken McMullen. He's the president of the Canadian Association of Fire. Hello there.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us. Let's start with our province. What's the latest on what's happening here in Alberta?
Well, interesting. It's changing at a moment's notice, and it's extremely volatile situation. We are seeing some more evacuation alerts and warnings up in that Swan areas up west of Fort McMurray as well. It's got some fires. Overall, across the country, we're seeing 164 fires. And to put that in perspective, about 26 of those are new within the last 18 to 24 hours. So there's a lot happening, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of people heavily involved in some significant fires.
And there'd be, thousands of people under evacuation orders. What's the latest now with the wildfires in Manitoba and Saskatchewan?
Again, things are happening very quickly. Just within the last couple of hours, Saskatchewan has declared a provincial state of emergency. Manitoba did earlier as well. And quite frankly, that's when the provinces have recognized that there are more demands than they have the resources for. Sometimes that's for additional resources. It might be able to change some of the procurement policies when they're relying on getting in supports for helping in wildfire fighting. So when we start to see provincial or territorial states of emergencies, we know that things are getting fairly aggressive.
And we haven't even mentioned Eastern Canada yet. What's the wildfire situation there right now?
Yeah, we are certainly seeing, I think, of the eastern provinces, the area that's raising some of the most concern is in Newfoundland, specifically to the far east. If we're talking central, Manitoba, Ontario seem to be seeing some of the fires. There is not a province or territory, with the exception of Prince Edward Island, that today doesn't have some sort of fire activity within their province or territory.
I mean, it's still May, but the scope of these fires is enormous. Is it surprising at all that we're seeing this level of destruction this early in the season?
Well, it's a really difficult one for me to answer personally, as well as president of the Canadian Fire Chiefs. Surprised is probably not the term I would use. When we look at what happened in 2023, again in 24, and now we're seeing some significant fires this early on in 2025. The days where we used to say unprecedented or unpredictable, I think those are behind us. When we're seeing these fire seasons, like we've seen in 23, 24, they are predictable and they are precedent. So we've got to do better. We've got to do better as a fire service. We have to do better as a federal and national governments to ensure that we are helping firefighters in this country who are there to help our citizens when these occur.
Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says Prime Minister Mark Carney has offered federal support. Manitoba also asked for help from the Canadian Armed Forces. What would you say is needed in Canada in order to be better prepared to fight these wildfires?
Well, first and foremost, the Canadian Fire Chiefs continue to advocate for the need of a National Fire Administration, a position within the federal government that's going to help coordinate and keep the top-of-mind topics relevant at all times in the Canadian government. And the reason I say that, and just bear with me as I say, it's amazing what we forget in January, what we talked about in July. Because in July of last year, we all talked about wildfire. We all talked about doing better and preparing differently. And yet, in the debates of the federal election, the topic of wildfire ranked 12 as a issue for Canadians. If we did that poll today, I'm quite certain that we would be a lot higher than 12 on issues pertaining to Canadians. A National Fire Administration makes this a priority for Canadians to talk about and for federal government policymakers to talk about 365 days a year.
But until that federal position is created, I mean, what's involved with being better prepared? Because as we know, wildfires can flare up, often without a lot of warning or notice for people. I mean, what should people know in terms of keeping themselves safe?
Yeah, again, I think now we're talking about what we can do as citizens, and there's a lot of things we can do in spite of what's happening politically or non-politically in the background. First and foremost, have the conversations. Start talking with your loved ones about what would we do in the event of an evacuation in your community. Do you have a 72-hour kit? Are we prepared? Do we have our medications? Do we have all of the documents that we need? Identification. Interesting, we run into it every year that somebody's been evacuated and they are going on a trip internationally and they've forgotten their passport or they forgot their work or their travel visas. It's really, really difficult for first responders to have to address the non-emergency type issues such as getting people back into their homes for medication when we can be better prepared and deal with that ourselves. Let's not forget about our pets. What are we doing to prepare for our pets? Are they coming with or are they not coming with? And if we have livestock or if we've got farms, now is the time to have those conversations. Let's not wait until the 1 hour notice to begin those conversations.
You mentioned that the days of calling this unprecedented are over, but in this final minute we have left, I mean, how concerned are you about the next few months of the wildfire season?
Well, I think I speak on behalf of most fire chiefs and firefighters in the country. We've got a long way to go. It takes thousands and thousands of people to keep involved and keep sustaining these types of responses. There's 126,000 firefighters in this country made up of career, volunteer, and composite, and about 80,000 of those are volunteers that are doing this not as their primary job. And when we are relying on 80,000 individuals to walk away from their other responsibilities, either as employers or as employees, as family makers and as husbands and wives and spouses, we're asking a lot of these individuals. And I'll tell you in the closing 30 seconds that the volunteer system has worked in Canada for centuries. What it was not designed to do is to ask people to go away for days, weeks, and in some cases months at a time. Right. So we've got to be cognizant of that and make sure that we're doing the best we can to recognize and support all firefighters in this country.
Ken, thanks for your time today. Ken McMullen, Red Deer Fire Chief and President of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs. It looks like